Hello, everyone. Now, most people, when they start off with anything, the first thing they do is give it a quick Googs. Now, in this episode, we are going to be answering the top five questions that most people Google when it comes to training. Welcome to the episode.
Welcome to the Training and Tangents podcast, episode number seven. Are you surprised we made it to number seven, bed?
I, with you being involved, no, to be honest, I knew that you keep this, I knew you'd keep this train going and on track. But it is cool. We were saying this, I think, after we recorded episode four, that we've got to celebrate the fact that we're getting these done because I think a lot
Yeah,
of people, including, I think we're all guilty of this. We're so worried about making the thing perfect that we forget to make it exist first. And that's kind of the phrase that I've been using is like, look, let's just get it out there. We can make things better later on, but let's make it exist first. So I'm proud of us. Let's go. And people
yeah,
seem to be enjoying it, which is kind of the whole point. So
yeah,
yeah.
100%. Just for anyone listening, if you are enjoying it, please can you leave us a rating or a review, or share it with a friend who you think might enjoy it? Because
Mhm.
yeah, obviously we want as many people as possible to kind of benefit from this, and yeah, it would help us immensely if you could do that for us. That'd be wicked.
We appreciate it
But
a lot.
without further ado, mate, what's new with you this week? You got anything new?
I went for a jog, I believe. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Oh,
Yeah,
jogging.
yeah, yogging seems to be it seems to be catching on. I passed a couple other people who were yogging too. Of course, you have to nod to them and give them a thumbs up. No, I went for a jog this week, and again, nothing huge. It was like literally a 2K thing, but Janice wanted to get into it again. She's to run quite a lot, and obviously with winter coming up, and it gets much harder to engage with. So we thought, right, we'll just set a small amount to go for, and we'll just do that. And one of the things I was concerned about was I've not had access to my Kaftrio, which is the medication I take for my cystic fibrosis, which has been a life-changing medication. I've not had access to that for been around 2 months, maybe even 2.5 months. So I was concerned about how I was going to feel doing the jog, and I felt fantastic. No, again, fantastic maybe is not the correct term because jogging is quite gross, but I think it's much more my
That's it.
thing.
It's okay. You can say you can. It's okay to enjoy it, mate. You don't have
It
to
was
hate on it.
you know what I enjoyed the fact that I could do it without my shins wanting to explode, which I think a lot of people who start off jogging, I'm going to stick to that. They feel that a lot. But I also the most important thing for me was I recovered so quickly after I'd done it. I was not out
That's
of breath.
wicked.
I'm really concerned, and that's something that I'm hypersensitive to as people who know anything about cystic fibrosis can imagine. That is a concern of mine. But so that was great, and
Yeah.
then I had just a great week of training, which was again with the last year of my shoulder being an issue, and then sickness. I mean, I cannot. I always forget how great it feels to move your body. Like I know it's something that happens to me all the time. Obviously, I think whenever you've been training as long as we have, there are points where you have to stop for a little bit, start back up again. But
Yeah.
my brain, my body, everything just feels so much better from training. What about yourself? Anything new with you?
Yeah. I just on that, mate. I know exactly what you mean. It's like when everything just clicks and like you're kind of coming off the back of an injury and just like training is just really fun and like you make progress really quickly. It's such a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, for me, well, first off, I've got a new haircut.
Yes, you do. Yes. Yeah, it suits you.
Thank
Of
you.
course, I mean, I didn't doubt it. If anyone was going to suit this look, it's gonna be Tom. Of course. For flip's sake. How's that? How's that? How's
Um,
that? Were you nervous?
I was a little bit nervous actually. To be honest, it's been one of those things that's been kind of on my mind for a little while. Just like hairline starting to recede a little bit, going a little bit thinner on like at the front on the top, and when it's just like it's something that kind of makes you feel self-conscious, even though like probably hardly anyone else was kind of even aware of it. But I
Yeah.
think even more so over the last couple of weeks because I've had like terrible hat hair as well, which has just made it even worse.
Half hairs. Yeah.
So yeah, just decided to make take the plunge. And we were actually talking back and forth earlier on messaging. Obviously, there's sort of medication that you can get now that can help, like obviously help you to sort of like maintain or regrow your hair. But it's one of those things. I've not done loads and loads of research, but the little bit of research that I did, like some people do get some side effects from that, and I just wasn't really willing to kind of go ahead and kind of like explore whether I would be one of the people that did get some side effects from it, and also it's like I don't really want to be kind of taking some medication for like a long period of time if I don't really need to. So yeah, I decided just to go with the chop. For anyone who's listening to this and not watching, it's just a shaved all over job.
Streamlined.
And I've already been told I need to just get a wet shave on it now, which I
I'll
think
get
probably
it.
will end up having to happen pretty quick, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Mate, fair play to you. Like
But
I think most men like it's something to struggle with, and I think fair play to
yeah,
you for just going for it. A massive amount of respect for you for doing it. And again, I it looks great, so you didn't really have to worry that
thanks, mate.
much.
I've I I've had the advantage of I have done it before. I did it in lockdown,
Ah,
because my partner Reb tried to give me a haircut, and I was like, absolutely not. This just has to all go. And to be fair, she didn't actually do that bad a job. But yeah, I just thought it's just got it's just got to go.
yeah.
And probably one of the oddest but quite satisfying compliments that I've had is that I've got a nice shaped head, apparently.
You do?
So
Yeah, yeah. That's what, and I'm like, oh yeah. Like, I think the last time I had a skinhead was when we went to Australia, and my mum was like, "It's going to be hot, so all of the boys are getting skinheads." And I
yeah,
really, really didn't want it, but I was that age where it didn't matter what you wanted. My mum was like,
yeah,
"Nope," just all, yeah, all came off. But yeah, it's and I think you're right with the you know the mm, tablets, medication, whatever you want to call it. I think I'm in the same vein of thinking of if I don't need to take something, I'm not going to. In fact, that was one of the kind of
yeah,
main concerns I had about Calf Trio originally, like was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that I was doing okay without it, and there was that concern of. Well, I mean, there was a lot of side effects known. I mean, that's typically speaking, whenever you're going to take a medication, you should look at the potential side effects, and the side effects that I saw for Calf Trio were terrifying. So yeah, I was very much on the fence. So I understand that. Again, I think we're both in the same boat of if we don't need to take something. I mean, are you the type of person who will
yeah.
just refuse painkillers until the very, you're just like, I'm just gonna,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
To
so
be fair, I've actually got slightly better on that recently. Like if I do need them, I will take them. But yeah, I used to be like, absolutely not. I can fight this myself.
my body is capable of fighting this off. Yeah, no, I think that's an, I've gotten better with it. I mean, oh, so actually, I found out this weekend that I might have an intolerance to brown rice,
Oh wow,
like
that's a
a severe
weird
intolerance
word.
to it. Yeah, very weird. So we were at my mum's house for dinner, and my mum's gone through this whole ultra processed foods fad. She has like an abbreviation for it, which is great. Like my mum and dad are seem to be very healthy, and touch wood, they continue to be. But she gave us brown rice, and now I'm in the opinion of if a food is better for you, but it tastes like dirt, I'm just going to take the less better version. So I always pick
Yeah,
white rice. And people are like, oh, brown rice has got loads of fiber. I'm like, tastes like eating small pebbles. I'm good.
yeah.
Mum,
There's other places you can get fiber actually. So
exactly, exactly. And yeah, that so we got home at about 7:30. It felt like my stomach was just like so bloated. Like I mean, I looked like like the turtles, the Ninja Turtles.
oh
It
yeah.
looked like that, but like imagine spinning one of the turtle shells around to the front, and it felt
Oh
like
wow.
swallowed like just glass. I was in so much pain, dude. Like I could not sit still. My feet were constantly like twitching, like just writhing around, and I was so uncomfortable. And it lasted for 5 or 6 hours. It got to the point where I'd make myself throw up.
Oh
Like
wow. That bad.
that was my option, and I do not like throwing up. It's one of the things that just makes me. It's the last resort, but I was literally standing over the sink, giving it that because I just could not stand the pain anymore. Like I was getting angry at the pain. So brown
Oh,
rice, not my thing apparently.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
so
stay away from that. You can have the nicer tasting versions anyway then.
I will, I will, I will. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of and not the brown rice of this episode. we've got five of these commonly asked questions from Google.
And
Now,
we
what we're going to
actually
do is,
have a special feature for today to stop us from rambling. We're going to be putting a 5 minute timer on for each of these and seeing if we can challenge ourselves to adequately answer these questions within 5 minutes without rambling too much.
so succinct is the goal here. So, shall we start the first question? Tom, you have got the questions that we give a quick Googs. So, as soon as you
Okay,
get it out, I will hit start.
3, 2, 1. The first question is, should I be using free weights or machines? Ben, do you want to start with this one?
Yes, I think this is a very valid question to ask first and foremost. I think that they are tools at the end of the day. I think that's the way you should. I feel like I'm talking super fast. Let's calm it down.
Slow it
Let's
down.
5 minutes. I'm wasting so much time. I think you need to look at them as tools. Some tools are better for some jobs than others. I think that if you're starting off in the gym, free weights are maybe one a little bit more intimidating for most people because of where they're situated, and a lot of the people that would be using free weights are typically people who are a little bit more experienced. So if you're a little bit timid, you're a bit unsure, I would say machines are fantastic. Now, machines I think are great simply because they put you in the position you need to be in without having to think about it too much. When you're barbell pressing, for example, or dumbbell pressing, you need to make sure that you're in the right position to really maximize that movement. Whereas a machine, you can't really go wrong. The other thing I love about machines is it's a much safer environment, generally speaking, to push yourself to failure or close to failure, which is, if you're trying to build muscle tissue, pretty damn important. Another benefit I think to machines are you get better at things by repetition. There's nothing out there that really doesn't fall into that category of if you do something more, you're going to get better at it. I will frequently program machines into clients' programming for a plethora of reasons. One, gym experience and comfort. Comfort. Two, getting them used to movement, and three, just teaching them the basic movements of machines. And a lot of gyms will have a lot of machines. Some gyms have a limited free weight section, and again, that free weight section can be quite intimidating. So that is my answer, Tom. That only took a minute and 50. Hopefully, people can
Oh,
see that
wow.
on their screen. So
I
what do
can.
you think?
I
You've got
can.
time to chew. Let's go.
Um, so yeah, I completely agree with all of the points you made. To be honest, mate, I think, like say if you're first starting off, machines the like the skill required to use a machine is less than it is to use free weights.
Mhm.
Um, and it depends like what kind of camp you're in. Obviously, sort of people who are sort of the functional, like the functional trainers will be like, oh no, I can't use machines because it's not functional. And then people who are sort of purely bodybuilders will like maybe only use machines. But like I say, seeing it as a tool and using it for what it's good for. And machines are absolutely excellent if you're new to a movement and you want to learn that, you need to learn that skill. If you're main goal is hypertrophy or building muscle mass because like you say because of there's you don't need as much stability because the stability is kind of created by the machine. You're able to load the muscle that you're trying to load a lot more specifically, and you can therefore push that muscle closer to failure, which obviously from a hypertrophy perspective is a good thing. Obviously there are some limitations, like some machines don't suit specific body types. Like some people just can't get comfortable on specific machines.
Uh,
Um,
that's a
do
harsh
you?
one. I have a phrase that I use. I did a practical workshop, and it just came to me one day. I was like, basically, you've got to look that machines are built for everyone, and yet no one in particular. So sometimes you need to kind of jimmy them around a little bit for them to work with your body shape, and that is going to be unique to everybody. But yeah, that's usually
Yeah.
the kind of phrase that I use. They're built for everyone, and yet no one in particular.
Yeah.
Um,
And also so, like some machines, because obviously they go through a fixed range of motion.
yeah,
Sometimes you might like they might not go through the range of motion that you want to go through. If you want to go through more range of motion, for example, or go through a slightly different range of motion if a particular position doesn't feel quite right for your body shape. That's why they can be limiting, basically,
yeah.
and also the fact that obviously like if you're isolating a muscle, then you're going to get less engagement through your trunk as you're doing that. So something like a barbell. back squat or front squat or something like that is gonna be more of a compound exercise, which obviously we spoke about previously. So it might be something that you want to include if you've got some like specific strength goals. Also, it's quite fun to pick up heavy barbells sometimes.
It is, it is. I think the last thing, we've got 20 seconds left. I think one of the
Oof.
another aspect of this is how much easier it is to access a machine rather than worrying about getting the plates, getting all the barbells, getting everything all set out. Machines make training sometimes more accessible to people. And I
Yep.
think that's it. Look at that. Smashed it.
Ah,
Okay.
nailed it.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Question number two. How often should you work out? So I'm gonna start off on this one. Um,
Okay,
It
hammer strong.
depends how much time that you've got to start with, um, and basically what's going to fit your lifestyle the best. And as we've spoken about on a previous podcast, as a general rule, what I would look to do is try and hit each muscle group twice in a week. Um, so depending on how much time you've got and how many times you can get to the gym will dictate how often you're gonna train. So if you can train 4 times, for example, you might still do a full body split, but you might be able to do like an upper body, lower body split, for example, and repeat that twice. So that you can hit all of those muscles groups twice in the week. If you can only train twice, you're probably going to do a full body split for both of those, so you can still train those muscle groups like all your muscle groups twice in a week. That's for me the main consideration when you look at that. And then also just looking at like what's the goal. If for example you've got some kind of athletic goal, then probably training slightly less often in the gym and doing full body sessions so that you can maximize your performance with your sport is probably also going to be a good thing. But obviously that's going to be very dependent on recovery. What would you add to that?
Just kind of dovetail off what you just said there. I think a good analogy that fits this is try to think of your training. I always imagine like sitting in a boat and you've got one paddle and you've got a second paddle. One paddle is your training, one paddle is your recovery. If you are smashing one side, let's say you're training, for example, what's going to happen to that boat? You're just going to go around in circles. You're not going to progress at all. You may feel like, yeah, this is output, output, output. And that's what a lot of people feel like is a positive thing. But you need to be giving equal attention to your ability to recover from those sessions. If you're not, you're going to start veering off in a different direction. And that's where the boat analogy in my head works. Because, if you've ever paddled a boat with one side, you know that you need to be giving it equal strokes. Otherwise, you're going to start veering off in one direction or, as I said, just going around circles. So I think it should be the case of as often as you can within, a realistic time frame. But I think that you should look at it more as, okay, what does my week look like? What does my day look like? And then plan your training or the amount of your training sessions you're going to get with the worst case scenario in mind. So I don't go into my week going, I'm going to get 6 sessions. I go, okay, what's my week looking like first? Have I got any, situations that are maybe unique? So, for example, this week, we have this podcast. I have what have I got tomorrow? I'm doing a live stream on my YouTube channel, and then on Thursday I'm going to play Warhammer. So I know that those are things that the Wednesday live stream thing is something I'm going to be doing quite frequently. But the Thursday game of Warhammer, that's unique. So I know that I'm going to have to maybe scale back what I can expect of that week. So I think to answer the question, how often should you train? As I said, as often as possible, but make sure you're not overreaching in terms of, I don't mean in the sense of like overtraining. I just mean you're not setting yourself a standard that you can't keep. So I think you're spot on with that. Like the frequency is a big thing to consider. But look, at the same time, if you feel motivated to go and train when it's a rest day, ride that wave of motivation. That's something that I
Yeah.
think a lot of people kind of are scared, like, oh no, I need to recover. And yes, you do. Of course, you need to recover. But if motivation is there, let's use the boat analogy again. Motivation is like having a mast on that boat with a sail. Wind of motivation comes rushing behind your back. You stick that sail up and you don't need to paddle anymore because that wind is taking you forward. Ride that as far as you can. That's exactly what I'm doing. My training has been, the training I'm doing at the moment is probably not going to be something I stick to, but I'm so motivated at the moment. I'm doing those extra sessions. I'm doing core sessions. I'm doing, upper sessions. I might throw in an arm session depending on how I'm feeling. But yeah,
Nice.
there you go. That's Anything else to add?
No, just that if you have done all your main stuff and you want to do something extra, arms is a great one to add in because both mostly because it's fun, but also because like mostly isolation exercise is going to be quite easy to recover from.
That's another thing to consider. Boom, there we go. 4 minutes
Oh,
30. Smashed it.
easy.
Okay, before you ask the next question, I've got the now standard, as now we've done it for the last three episodes, of
Yeah,
would you rather?
it's a tradition now.
It's now become a tradition. Okay, so I had one here, but all right. So, would you rather have the power to bring back an extinct species to life or prevent a species from going extinct in the future?
Oh,
Now, first of all, you've got to ask,
should
like, what's the coolest thing?
I went straight to dinosaurs. Did you do that when you
Yeah,
read that
yeah.
question? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, 100%. Like, so what dinosaur are you going to bring back?
Well, obviously you go straight to a T-Rex, but then like might be a bit of a liability having a T-Rex around.
Yeah.
Velociraptors. Although, did you know Velociraptors actually they had feathers? They were like, and they were really quite small. They were a lot smaller than what Jurassic Park portrays them. Quite a bit
Yes.
less cool, but still very cool.
Oh, dude, I mean, this is a question I could get lost in the weeds with because I'm such a nerd when it comes to all this stuff. I'm thinking of like, what's the impact on the environment going to be like? Like, if we brought back woolly mammoths, that's going to actually really help with like the entire tundra. And where are we going to bring it back? And then what would like? I could get lost in the weeds in this, but yeah, like the
I think it sounds like you'd probably be better off saving a species than bringing one back.
so okay, so yes, I do have an answer for this. I would save I would save the rhino. 100%. Rhino is my
Yeah,
favorite creature. Rhinos are they are the most wild animal, as in just conceptually, that I could think of. Like, if you got a kid to draw a rhino and a rhino didn't exist, you'd be like, what on earth is that? Is that a unicorn with armor on it? Like that
yeah, they're pretty
exists?
cool.
Like I think they are the coolest animal ever. I've seen a few of them in real life, and I'm in awe that that thing exists. Like you think about it, it's like it's a it's a giant unicorn. First of all, that's crazy as it is, but then it is literally like a battle tank. It is the coolest animal. So I would 100%. I think, what is it? 99% of animals that have existed have gone extinct anyway. Like I
Yeah,
think that's a crazy. It might be not 99, but it is a stupidly high number. I think yeah, it is like 99% of animals that have existed or species that have existed have gone extinct. So I think there's that kind of like obviously humans have had a significant impact on that. In fact, I have a really random fun tangent for you. Okay. So there is an animal that was directly responsible for the extinction of another animal. Now, humans had an input in this.
yeah,
Now, it was turtles and the dodo. Okay. So the turtles are the reason why, or tortoises actually, to be more accurate, tortoises are one of the main reasons that dodos have gone extinct. Okay. Because dodos themselves were a very plain tasting animal. They were not tasty at all, and that's what humans majority they did. They just hunted them around because dodos were, the whole dumb as a dodo. They had no
yeah.
fear of humans, so they were super easy to hunt. But their meat itself was really quite dull. So the people who hunted the dodos realized that if you stewed a tortoise in the fat and you mixed that fat with the dodo meat, you had some of the tastiest meat in the world. So the tortoise actually contributed to the death of these dodos because they would literally go out, hunt the dodos, and tortoises and turtles, they're not exactly hard to catch either. So they would literally
Yeah.
catch the dodo, shoot the dodos, and then they'd strap the
Wow.
tortoise back, and then they would take them onto ships, and then they would use the oil from the tortoise fat to flavor the meat of the dodo.
Did
So
not know
there's
that.
for you. There's a random. So yeah, my answer to this would be I would prevent the rhino from going extinct, and you would bring back a T Rex.
Yeah. Maybe a velociraptor, or possibly a pterodactyls are pretty cool, aren't they? Although I imagine that would probably bringing back if we're not just bringing back just one, are we? Bring back the entire species.
Yeah, I think a population that can kind of be self-sufficient.
Yeah, I think that might become a bit of a liability, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's what is there? There's birds that were native to New Zealand. The names escape me now, but it's like koa koa or something like that. But they were big enough to take away like kids.
Yeah, there's one of the flying dinosaurs. I think it stood like when it stood 2 meters tall, and its wingspan was like 4 or 5 meters, or something ridiculous like that.
Is that the
It's like
Quetzalcoatl or
Quetzalcoatlus or something like that.
yeah, it's one
Yeah,
the legends.
it's in one of Zach's books. I've never known quite how to pronounce it.
Quacks. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the thing I'm thinking about. Let me see.
Yeah, they're massive.
Big extinct New Zealand bird. I'm using my phone at the moment. It said that I'm using my phone at the moment. The moa. No, oh no, no, that's not it because that's the flightless one. Yeah. Anyway, there's some eagle. Oh, the Haas eagle. Eagle. That's the one. Yeah, it has the. It's called the Haas eagle, and it was like there's stories around the kind of Maori villages that they would carry away kids. So
Wow.
a pterodactyl. I'm like, uh,
Yeah.
you're going out in your house. You're like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Good thing about living in the UK, there's
I mean,
nothing really scary here.
seagulls are bad enough, aren't they? We probably
They're
probably don't want any
annoying.
pterodactyls flying around.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that tangent because that was, I'd say, arguably the most enjoyable one.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number three.
Question number three. How many exercises should you do per workout? Do you want to start with this one, Ben?
Yes, so I think I might have a different take on this to you, but we'll find out. As few as possible, I actually think. I think that whenever I see people's program that have got more than 10 exercises or 10 different exercises in it, I think that is super overwhelming. You've got to consider that most people listening to this podcast are going to be training in gyms that are peak busyness when they get to train. So that's in the morning and kind of that 6 to 8 p.m. If anyone has coached, which you and I have coached one to one, that is a nightmare time, but it's the busiest time in the gym. So I
Yeah.
think when you reduce the amount of exercises you've got on your program, you reduce the amount of overwhelm that you're going to get with, again, engaging with that process. That is one of the things that I think is the most important thing when you set out to do anything. Instead of trying to summon up more willpower, you should be trying to reduce the friction engaging in that process. When you minimize the amount of exercises you're picking from, you are just immediately making things a little bit more digestible. Another thing to consider is principles over programming. So if you've got a leg press, for example, on your training program, the principle of the leg press is kind of a squat pattern, right?
Yeah.
Think about how many other exercises you could then swap out for that leg press if you are in a gym that's busy. Whereas if you've got a leg press, then you've got a hip thrust, then you've got leg extension, then you've got leg curls, and you've got a squat, a hack squat. It's very, very overwhelming. So I'm in the opinion of have as few as you can get away with that cover as many bases as possible. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Anything to add, or do you have a different take on it? I know we took over.
Um, oh, we got loads of time,
Loads of
loads
time.
of
Yeah.
time. So there's a few things that I would add. So as a general rule, not doing more than 6 to 8 exercises per muscle group per session is a good probably a good sort of standard to aim for, because like say you're doing 6 to 8 quad based exercises, by the time you get to like your sixth set, you're not really going to be pushing very hard on those at all. So like sort of bearing that in mind when you're kind of putting a session together, like that's kind of what I would have as the like the absolute most in terms of per muscle group. And I completely agree with you from a practicality perspective. The less that's on there, the easier it's going to be to get through, and also the easier it's going to be to kind of substitute when say you need to get on a um, like a seated row, for example, but you know if the seated row is busy, you can go and do a dumbbell row, for example, and you can set that up anywhere in the gym. Like that's going to reduce that friction. That's going to make it easier to go and do. Um, but also just to kind of caveat that and kind of go completely the other way, from a personal perspective, I would prefer to do less sets of more exercises rather than more sets of less exercises, because I find that more mentally stimulating. And I find that after I've done two sets on a specific movement, I could quite happily go and do like I'll have got enough from that that I can go and do a different movement that's gonna hit those same muscles. Like say you're doing sort of something pull based, just doing a slightly different variation of a pull, like a lat pull down or a row or something like that. Um, because, like I said, I find that more like mentally stimulating and more enjoyable to do. But from a practicality perspective, often that's not like you're probably better off doing less exercises for more sets. If you're working out in a busy gym.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that you're right in saying that. Like, there's an element of it that I think that's from probably training for as long as we have. That we've done pull ups, we've done lat pull down. It's kind of fun to chuck in something a little bit different, even just if it's just changing your hand from
Yeah.
pronated, which is pronated. By the way, if you're not watching this, pronated is your belly of your hand downwards. Supinated is your belly of your hand facing up. The easy way I remember that is you carry soup like this in your open hand like that, and you do not carry soup on the back of your hand. So that's how I always remember. Even just mixing that up.
I
The
don't carry
pull
soup in my hands normally.
I carry it. Just carry it on like a
Yeah.
waiter. But yeah, I think you're right. I think sometimes you've got to consider, uh, the engagement and the stimulating aspect of it. But I think for the most part, generally speaking, try to keep your exercises. And let's face it, there are so many different exercises for so many different muscle groups, but there's some kind of bread and butter ones that you would definitely benefit from doing over and over again. Like as I said, pull-ups are something that you and I have done many, 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 many times, and there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Nailed it.
Ah, perfect.
Okay, right
Right.
here.
Question number four. What is the best training split? So
Here we go.
we have touched on this in the past. A training split is basically how you organize your training over the course of a week. And the biggest factor that's going to impact that is how many times per week can you train, and obviously what the goal is, what you're working towards. If you're able to train less often, the best training split for you will probably be a full body split, or maybe a full body and then an upper body, lower body towards the end of the week. If you can train three times, for example, because what we're doing if we do that is making sure that we're, as I said earlier, hitting each muscle group twice in a week, so you're getting that frequency, and also because you're hitting the muscle groups twice in a week, you're able to work a little bit harder with a little bit more intensity and probably get a little bit more volume into each of those sessions.
Hmm.
So yeah, the best training split is going to be the one that you can that is dictated by how many times per week you can train essentially.
Yeah,
What would you say to that if someone asked you that question?
I, it's the it's the thing I would say quite a lot, and this is it's the one that you can follow. Like realistically, it's the one that allows you to follow it as long as you possibly can. I think a lot of people chop and change their programming way too frequently. Like that is one thing that I think a lot of people are quite surprised by whenever they work with a coach, a good coach, how infrequently you need to change your training because you can get so much. I always, again, analogies are my thing. I think it's like squeezing an orange. If you're trying to get as much juice out of that orange, one squeeze, you're going to get quite a lot, but there's still so much more potential in there that people just kind of then throw away and grab the next one and grab the next one. I'm like, you want to bleed every potential ounce of progress out of that program before you move on to it. Now, there obviously are some things you need to consider. Boredom is one of the big things. If you're getting bored of your workout, you don't need to change the entire workout. Change like a couple of little factors. It could be changing up the tempo. It could be changing up the rep schemes. It could be introducing like a different stimulus, like a drop set or a pause set or anything like that. But I think that the best split for you as an individual is the one that you can foresee yourself doing over and over and over again. This whole process leans very heavily on repetition and your ability to do this thing over and over again. Your body does not adapt from one unique stimulus. It responds to constant stimulus and the constant reminder of that stimulus. So I think that yeah, you've got to pick something that you're like, yeah, I could see myself doing that. And that might be actually the split that, you know, maybe isn't as much as you would like to do. I say this all the time. I don't care what people like to do or want to do. I care about what they can do because that's reality, that's grounded in reality, and that's going to make more of an impact than what you think you would like to do, or you're like, yeah, I think that's the kind of the answer I would give for the most part. It's like find the split that works for you. Also be patient with the split as well. Don't try and jump from split to split. But if you can get 4 weeks into it, maybe even 6 weeks into it, and you're like, cool, I this is now becoming less of a mental load for me, like habits they tend to
Yeah.
do. Your brain has to spend less energy thinking about it. That's a great thing. I think a lot of people underestimate that, there's so many things going on in our lives. Having one aspect of your life almost automated in terms of your
Yeah.
training, in this case, can be such a relief when stress does get higher and higher, which, life tends to do, tends to kind of
Yeah.
poke us and be like, want some more stress? And we're like, no, I'm good. It's like tough for
Yeah.
getting it anyway. So I think when you've got a training plan that you can engage with that maybe is, I don't want to say underreaching for you, but I think you've got to set yourself up to win as often as possible and build up that momentum, sorry. So yeah, in
Yeah.
terms of how I would answer that question, yeah, that would
Yeah.
be it. Anything else to
I
add?
think that's a really good point on actually keeping things the same for a period of time. Um, I think, like I say, I think most people change way too often, and when they do change, it's a big change, when in reality it doesn't. Like, sort of, if you have a training block of 4 or 6 weeks, your next training block should look pretty similar to that block. You shouldn't really, like, you don't need to be changing that much. But I think different people need different amounts of stability. Like, some people really like going in and doing the same stuff over and over again. Some people like to have more variation. And I also find that is contextual as well, based on what they've got going on. Like you say, if you're really stressed, you've got loads of other stuff going on that you're having to think about outside of the gym, going in and doing the same thing is like probably the right shout for you, and actually having less variation. Oh, we're at the time.
That was, I mean, okay, we've been good with the other ones, so let's just pause that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think that you've got to have that. Everyone's unique, everyone's different. Again, you have to make it as fun and as engaging as you can. Fun, we're
Yeah.
quoting fun. But
But
yeah,
and also, like say it, you can keep the main things the same and then change your warm up. You can add something different into finish. You can add in different filler exercises, like in between the sets, and that's where sort of we've spoken about side quests before. That's where
yeah,
that can be quite fun if you've got like a little mini goal that doesn't really impact, like, it doesn't really impact your main goal, but it's something fun to kind of go and pursue, whether that's a bodyweight scale, or just building up it, like putting a little bit more emphasis on one specific muscle group, or something like that.
I'm doing ab rollouts. I'm doing ab rollouts.
They're
Oh my word, my
savage.
core. Oh, I sneezed earlier, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I did them. I was like, no problem, absolutely no problem. I want to be able to stand up and do them eventually. But I've had an
Yeah,
inguinal hernia, and I'm always like, ooh. And then
yeah,
also
that's probably playing your mind.
the scar site from my mecolium surgery when I was born. It's basically a scar that goes right across my stomach. It pulls, and it's very uncomfortable sometimes. Like if I'm doing like a push down or something where there's a lot of load above my head,
Yeah,
the feeling of my in my stomach of where the scar site is so uncomfortable. So I'm gonna have to build it up a little bit. But yeah, we
yeah,
blasted past the 5 minutes there, but who cares? We smashed the other one. So
yeah, yeah,
last
yeah.
but not
Right.
last but not least,
Question number 5. What are the best exercises? What are the best exercises, Ben?
burpees.
No, I wasn't expecting that from you.
No, they're not. They suck.
Yeah, they're
The best,
terrible.
there's no best exercise. Let's just put this straight to bed. There's no best exercises. There's the best exercise for you as an individual, and even then, that's going to change depending on your goals, depending on what's going on. So I don't think there's a true answer to this at all. Best exercises, even then, like you've got to consider, as kind of going back to point number two, there are exercises that are really suitable for some people, and then some exercises that are really not suitable. So, squat, for example, is one that kind of a lot of people go to. Squats are so unique and so individual to that person, depending on your lever length, depending on how long your femur is, how long your tibia and fibia are. Like, for example, I can sit in a deep squat or a Korean squat quite comfortably, because my legs are not super long. Whereas someone who's got super long femurs, they're just not going to be able to get to the same depth as I would, for example. So yeah, there's no best exercise out there. If someone says this is the best exercise for insert muscle group, always, always take that with a grain of salt. It may be the best exercise for that person. They may have grown their arms massively from doing this one exercise, but you're not them. Spoiler alert, that's not you. So you've got to find what works for you, what feels comfortable for you. There's some exercises that just don't feel comfortable. I'm trying to think of one. So for example, I hate training biceps. I
Really?
just don't like it. Yeah, I just don't like it. I don't know what it is, but I have never ever enjoyed training biceps. Triceps, give them me all day. I could do triceps all day, but biceps to me, I just it just feels gross to me. I get angry.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I just do not like training biceps. So no matter what bicep exercise it is, I just I just don't really like them. So yeah, what's your opinion on if someone said to you, "Hey Tom, what's the best exercise for insert muscle group?"
So yeah, I'd completely echo everything you said, mate. What I normally look at when I'm looking at exercise selection, can you go through a good range of motion? Can you adequately load it and progressively load it? Um, is it pain free? Do you like it? And if you tick off those four things, you've got a good exercise for you. Because at the end of the day, there's no like whichever muscle group, whatever movement you're doing, there's no one exercise that will do everything for you in terms of like, so like if you look at a row versus a lat pull down,
Hmm.
they like both are great exercise, but you can't choose just one if you want to build muscle through your entire back because of the range of motion that you're going through and how they load the body.
Yeah,
Like a horizontal row pattern is going to hit the lats a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit more rhomboids, like all the muscles through your upper back. Whereas a vertical pull, like a pull up or a lat pull down or something like that, is going to hit the lats a lot more because you're able to go through a lot more range of motion for the lat. So every exercise is going to have like some kind of unique way that it loads your body, and that's like probably the main reason for like adding in variation when you're looking for sort of like when you're building muscle is because like you might have a good range of exercises in your that you're currently working, but not all the exercises are going to work everything. So that would be where you would potentially change the exercises so you can load those muscles through a slightly different range of motion and hit them in a slightly different like from a slightly different angle. Um, yeah, it's there is no best exercise. No,
but
I don't think I don't think we've got anything else to say on that, have we?
no, we don't. I mean, if anyone says they are, then probably question it. That's
But
probably the best.
burpees definitely.
Burpees. Yuck. There we go. I think that was pretty good. That was other than
Everything,
question four, but that's fine. We make the
yeah.
rules. We're our own bosses. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah,
For the people who are only listening, they don't even know how far we went over. So it was 0.01 of a second probably
yeah,
or something like
barely. It
that.
was literally 5.1 seconds. It was fine. It was 5 minutes and 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. People who are watching, shh, don't tell them.
Don't tell them.
That's our secret. It's our little visual secret. Look, that was a great episode. I think that we want to try and help as many people as possible. You guys can help us reach more people. Share this stuff. If you're watching this, throw it on Instagram, tag us. We massively appreciate that. As Tom said at the start, if you got all the way to the end here, leave a review, tell your friend about it. Do that stuff. It really is helpful. And if
One
you,
last question for you, Ben. One last
oh,
question.
okay, I was waiting for you. Yeah.
What one bit of advice would you give someone who's looking to start now? Only one bit of advice. This is hard, actually. Do you want me to go
Imperfect,
first?
imperfect action will always be perfect intentions.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be it. I would say just make it exist. As we were talking about at the start of this, make it exist. Worry about making it better once it exists.
Yeah.
That'd be my that'd be my advice. You didn't stump me on it last
Nice.
week.
Yeah,
Ready?
no, that was good.
What
Nailed it.
about you? What about you?
I was just gonna give a shout out to our coach and say, come and work with either me or Ben, um, because you'll get a a massive head start on everything, just by working with like someone who's been doing this for a long time and can actually get you set up with something that helps you to get to your goal quicker, but also fits your lifestyle, fits all of your constraints, fits your preferences. Yeah, I would say if you've not worked with a coach before, I think it is very useful, and I think you would get a lot from that process. So
It
yeah, little
expedites the
shout out to
process.
us.
Yeah, it expedites the process massively. Like,
Yeah.
don't make all the mistakes that we've made. That's kind of why we do what we do, to help you avoid making those mistakes. And if you like just our approach, I think this is kind of an important aspect of this, is I think you need to kind of blend or gel with your coach. So if you like our approach, you probably like us as your coach. Didn't mean to rhyme, but there we go. Anyway,
Oh, what a great way to finish.
I'm going to freeze frame this so that you can do the outro. It's a freeze frame for those people who are watching.
So smooth.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you
do
very
it.
much for listening, guys, and we will catch you next week.
See you soon.